So this is the Board of Health meeting for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, in accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency. The April 15th, 7 p.m. public meeting of the Norfolk Board of Health shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. Alternative public access to this meeting shall be utilizing the Zoom virtual meeting for remote access. I think that's it.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. So the first thing on our agenda was reviewing, or do we have to go in any sort of order for people that are on? Or
No, we don't. We don't have any public hearings, so.
Okay. I put it on my computer so I can see it, and now nothing will open. Hold on one second. Oh, I got it. Okay. We're going to discuss the proposed amendments to the regulation of the Norfolk Board of Health restricting the sale of tobacco products. So I did read them. I think all the changes that we discussed were in there. I didn't see anything that was missing, but I don't know about you, Cheryl, or Andy.
I'm actually thinking.
Do you have any comments?
Well, since the board is changing over by 2 members next month, would this, and if we need to make any more changes and whatnot, would it be prudent on our part to actually have it for the new board to be reviewing this and making sure that they're comfortable with it prior to us? So there's probably a little bit more that needs to be rewritten instead of having it kind of halfway.
I mean, I obviously don't have a problem with that. Andy, do you?
Yeah.
Thanks, since I think I'll be the common point. No, actually, Cheryl, the point you brought up was very good, and I thought the same thing too. Is that it's kind of like appointing Supreme Court justices, on the end of a term. So that's something I was thinking of, but at the same time, I think the content, let's just say the document as itself, I think is pretty solid. And I think that any changes that would be done might be personal preferences more than, I would say, any scientific reading or legislative or, let's just say nothing that really has to do with the Board of Health per se. But I think the procedure that you're talking about, I'd agree with. So, and I didn't come to that, right away. After I read the document, I thought about it for a couple of days. So, so Liz, I'm not sure. If we can, and Betsy,
make a motion to postpone. I mean, the people are going to have to.
Well, I think
in a meeting or
not to postpone, but I think simply just say that the current board has read this through, but keeping in, I guess, in the spirit of, I don't know what the word is. I guess just the consistency of the Board of Health, plus also, I guess it's a typical problem. Like if regulation is passed, then somebody new comes in. It's like, there's all these things I thought about. So well, on that same vein, I'm kind of disappointed that there's none of the candidates are here tonight to even listen on this discussion, but that's just, my thoughts on that. But
yeah, I think if it was just the usual election that you had one person turning over and you had 2 people consistently, but for the fact that 2/3 of the board's going to turn over next month, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that was going to be my suggestion as well, is to let the board do this at the next meeting, and if they're interested, they can, we can hold a public hearing in June to adopt these changes. So.
Okay. So, I see nothing wrong with discussing if there's any content or any changes, but like I said, and I think, as Liz said, reading through, I think we hit all the high points. I'm quite sure something will probably come to somebody after we pass it. But then again, if we have to make a change, we make the change. So, Pari, I apologize. You did all this hard work, and now you're.
No,
now you're sort of sitting there. It's like, wait a second, we just have it. No, we're not trying to undermine you, but I think I trust you can understand the position that we're in.
Sure. I'm very happy with Board of Health decision, whatever it is.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask you, did you go to the vendor where you bought those products and
Yeah, I just want to give a quick update on that. We had re-inspection and Liquor World, and
Awesome.
there was no products, including the products what we tested in the Board of Health meeting last time. And there were few products which I couldn't buy last time. Even those products were out of the store. So
Oh, good.
yeah, nothing was there, and I could see only Joule or Views, the nicotine vape products were there. Other than that, I think the store was clean. That's what I would say.
okay.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Okay.
Very good. So I don't know if we're making motions or we're just delaying this.
I don't think you need to make a motion.
Okay.
I'll bring the new board members when they're elected, I'll bring them up to speed, and then we can, like I said, circle back at our meeting in May and see how it goes.
I think I would just make a motion to table until the next meeting. So that way the two new board members can be involved in the process. That's probably what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. Good idea.
All right, so I'll make a motion to table the discussion of proposed amendments to the regulation of the Norfolk Board of Health restricting the sale of tobacco products to the May meeting, so the new board members can vote on it.
And I will second that with the understanding that this board has reviewed the document and are satisfied with the intent.
Mhm.
So, okay.
All in favor?
Andy
Cheryl Bennington,
Bankowski,
aye.
aye. Sorry, Cheryl.
That's okay.
Andy Bakanowski, aye.
Liz Gephardt, aye. All right, the next thing, Matt, do you have any updates for us? I don't know if Carrie's with you. She doesn't come to the meetings yet, right?
No, I only have her 7 hours a week, and I figured it's her time is more valuable spent
Catching up.
doing inspections. So there wasn't really anything to update, but she's been doing her regular routine inspections. Everything seems to be going along okay on that end.
Good. Matt, do you have anything?
Just a couple of things. New construction perks. I've been very busy on the field last couple of weeks, and will be at least for the next month and a half. It's a good thing. Not a lot of repairs, but new construction. So hopefully that's a sign that things are moving in the right direction. And just a quick note on the accessory dwelling unit situation. Mass DEP last week finally issued their guidance after a long 9 months of waiting. And it was not anything like what they had said they were going to issue. They went back on their comments regarding that they were going to possibly allow smaller systems for ADUs that were on their own system, and there was some other things as well. And their guidance basically is that all ADUs will have to comply with new construction standards. If there's any increase in flow beyond what a existing system can accommodate, the system has to be replaced with a new system and has to follow all new construction standards, which means no variances or local upgrade approvals are allowed. The zone 2 nitrogen loading restriction areas will be in full place still. So 4 bedrooms per acre, unless they put in secondary treatment, then they can go to the 5 bedrooms per acre. The only real piece is that with an ADU, if it's detached, they can put a separate septic on just that ADU. Generally, that's not allowed. So that's kind of the only new allowance, but it does still have to fall under full new construction standards. So I did write up a memo or or a notice that kind of clarified it out of Mass DEP's normal language that a layperson doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I did give that to Betsy and sent a copy as well to Rich for planning and zoning purposes. And certainly if anybody has questions about what they can and can't do, I'm more than happy to talk to them about it. But I think that unfortunately with the restrictions on septic systems for the ADUs, it's going to be a little problematic for a lot of properties in Norfolk, especially with the zone 2 restrictions. So we'll see, but I just wanted to update the board on that piece. And as far as the Metacomet Public Health Alliance, back in December, you as a board had voted on the IMA, and in doing so set up the advisory board, which we had our first meeting last Thursday. And I have a good feeling that at least from that meeting that Norfolk is really getting good services from the Alliance, and the town is doing very well in accepting those services as well, especially on the nursing side. It's been a huge benefit to the town. So hopefully we're still heading in the right direction.
For sure.
Thank you, Matt. Does anybody have any questions for Matt?
As far as the accessory dwelling unit regulations, we're actually on the land use website. We're actually creating a ADU page so people can go. All the information will be posted there. So hopefully that will help.
Yes. All right. 111 Dedham Street. Any updates?
The only thing that occurred since the last meeting was there was a request for a notice of delay submitting the report. It was due the end of March, and we're looking at June as of right now. But considering that's work that's being done by the EPA and funding is in question for contaminated sites, it's questionable whether that deadline will be met as well. So, and the presentation, last thing was that Rich was going to talk with Kevin Roach and Justin, and I'm not quite sure if that's taken place. But it's well, I guess we'll see what happens. There's other options that people can do, and I know that last summer, the Lions Club had asked if I could give a quick presentation just on the property, and then they kind of canceled when I was asking questions specifically, what are they interested in? So that was something that it didn't get as far as this one, even though quite a bit of the document that I pulled together was part of that discussion. So, but it's. I mean, they're doing work out there because when I've driven by, I've seen vehicles out there. So, but that's about it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Andy? Did everyone review the minutes from the last meeting? And does anyone have any questions or concerns regarding them?
I have none. No questions, no typos, no clarifications.
Cheryl, are you good?
I'm good. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 25th, 25.
I'll second those.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Andy Bakanowski, aye.
Liz Gephardt, aye. And then meeting dates. I don't worry. What do you want to do with those, Betsy? Are you gonna wait? Do you already have it established for the new members?
Not yet. It's the 4th Tuesday of the month, unless we decide to change it, and you and Cheryl won't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I didn't put it on the agenda, but I didn't know if there was any Norwood Hospital updates.
No.
No.
Any other business that we didn't think of? I don't see anybody on to discuss anything now.
No, I think the other folks were here for the tobacco discussion.
Gotcha. All right, does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll let Cheryl do that.
I
since
make a
it's-
motion to adjourn the Tuesday, April 15th Board of Health meeting.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Cheryl Dunnington, aye.
Andy Bakunowski, aye.
Liz Gephardt, aye.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. And
Thanks.
Cheryl and Liz, thank you for your service.